Hi, my name is Jacob Monk, and this video is made really for people from all over the world who wants to get asylum in Denmark. Well, I'm going to give you some advice because I would like a lot of people coming from other countries living in Denmark. In Denmark, I belong to a small minority of Catholics. We are less than 1% here in Denmark, and we are repressed in many ways of the majority of Lutheran Protestants. Therefore, I want a lot of people from minority religions to come into Denmark so we can expand the community of minorities. Because the more minorities we have, the more freedom we have. The Lutherans want to repress us. They want to take our money, to force us to study Lutheran philosophy, Lutheran politics, Lutheran theology, Lutheran way of life. But we don't want so. We want to have freedom to find our own way. And therefore, I want you to come to Denmark. And now I'm going to give you the receipt. Well, first of all, you have physically to come to Denmark. I can't learn you anything about that. I know there are a lot of routes where you can come to Denmark, and actually a few months ago, maybe hundreds of people were coming into Denmark every day. And today, I don't know how many people from foreign countries comes here. Some comes from Syria. They are refugees from the war. Some come from Middle East. Some come from Africa. Some come from Asia. They come from all over the world. And of course, some of you are more legitimate refugees than others. Because if you come, for example, from Syria, you should have the right to stay here before someone coming from, for example, Algeria, because in Syria there is a very, very dangerous war. But I'm not going to mix into that subject. I'm just going to tell you who will have asylum here in Denmark. And asylum you can have if you have a human rights issue. And there are 3 ways to get a human rights issue that will be respected by the Danish politicians. Well, my personal opinion is that Danish politicians are totally idiots. They are political prostitutes from the USA. But unfortunately, they don't do everything what that employer tells them to do. Because USA wants Denmark and other European countries to take much more refugees than we do. And I want the same. I agree with the United States in that issue. Well, there are 3 ways you can get asylum here, and they have been proven through these ways. First of all, when you come to the police in Denmark, you have to tell that you are political refugee. I repeat, political refugee. It's not enough that you are going to Denmark because you don't want to be killed in your home country. You have to be a political refugee because Danish politicians, they believe that they are obliged to give a refugium for every political refugee. For example, if you're a terrorist from a foreign country, maybe you are persecuted by the authorities in this country. Well, you can call yourself a political refugee. We have had people here coming, especially from Russia. They are terrorists from Russia. But here, when they come here, they say, I'm a political refugee. And you'll have to say the same. Of course, don't ever say you come from a country being member of NATO, because Danes believe that all countries in NATO, they are paradises of human rights. So you can't be a political refugee coming from a NATO country. Find some other country. Throw away your passport. It's no problem. You can tell the authorities that you come from any country. And remember, you are a political refugee. And if you have some notice from a paper or some other kind of paper that can prove you are a political refugee, then it's even better. Number 2, tell you are homosexual. You are prosecuted homosexual because in the country you're coming from, it's not legal to be homosexual. You are persecuted by the authorities and by the population in that country. They are probably Christian or something else, and they don't like homosexuals. They want to kill you. That's what you tell, and therefore you go to Denmark. Maybe you should start up contacting the Danish organizations for homosexuals. You know, they have a flag, red, green, blue, red. You can see it on the American embassy on the White House in Washington. Every time there is a gay march, gay parade in Europe or in USA. And you have to unite with the gay organizations because they will protect you. As long as you say, I'm gay, I'm a lesbian, gay and lesbian, that's the same. Then they'll do everything they can to protect you. And they'll write articles about you in the paper that you're persecuted in your home country. Therefore, you want to go to the country of freedom for gay people. And this country is Denmark. You know, Denmark was the first country where pornography and abortion was legal. And Denmark is a powerhouse of gay movements. So if you're a gay person, you'll certainly feel at home in Denmark. And if you're not a gay person, no one can prove that. Just say that you are a gay person. Maybe you can even do some gay activities for a moment, for some months, if you had to do that to convince the gay organizations in Denmark. After that, when you got your permissions to stay, you can go back to your wife and back to the way of living that you prefer and that you want to use. But now we are discussing how to get the allowance to stay in Denmark. Method number 1, political minority persecuted in his home country. Method number 2, it's maybe even better, say you're homosexual, persecuted in your home country. And method number 3 is close to the same as number 1. Say you are belonging to a political minority in your country, maybe also an ethnical minority. And this ethnical or political minority, they are persecuted by the government, persecuted by the majority or the army in the country where you live, and therefore they want to kill you, so you just have to go to Denmark. Well, you can choose between these 3 methods. All of them will be useful. Personally, I think these times the gay method is the most effective. You are a gay person, that's what you claim. I don't think they will ask you to prove it, but if you want to prove it, maybe you can make a love letter from your gay friend at home, and you can show them this love letter. It proves that you're homosexual, and they can't disprove it. And then you maybe even go to the homosexual organizations in Denmark, tell them about your homosexual career, and maybe they'll help you too. They have lawyers, and they'll give you backup when you go to interviews at the Danish authorities. Well, these were the 3 methods to get entrance to Denmark and political asylum in Denmark, and you can stay here for the rest of your life. So, welcome and thank you for listening.